Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the No Laying Up Golf Podcast. My name is Randy, and we are previewing the Solheim Cup. Of course, that takes place this weekend in Gainesville, Virginia at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. And to help me do so, two of my colleagues, Cody McBride and Tron Carter. Cody, good morning. How are you today?
Buddy, I'm doing good. I just want to put this out there for people who are watching on our YouTube channel. And if you're a podcast listener, we also have all of these available on the No Laying Up podcast YouTube channel. But I'm pretty sure that every piece of available pollen in the state of Texas has found its way into my nose. So it's a tough day for me, but I'm excited to be here, buddy.
Well, we thank you for playing hurt today. It's great to have you. TC, a guy who knows a little bit about allergies, but after the famous sinus procedure last year, how are you doing, Tron?
I'm great, Randy. Allergies are nowhere to be seen for me. It's been raining for like a week straight here in Jax. It's showing no signs of abating. Looking forward to getting up to the Mid-Atlantic later this week for the Solheim Cup. Very, very stoked. I think the Solheim Cup, probably my favorite sporting event I've been to in recent memory. Both the Inverness year as well as last year at Finca Courtesan. Finca was not quite as smooth or memorable in kind of other ways, but both fantastic events and just good energy.
Yeah, too bad they're not bringing over the security detail from Finca. That was a highlight of the trip. Cody, two highlights are two proud partners that make all of this possible: Yeti and Titleist. Let's start with Yeti. What can we highlight with Yeti?
Yeah, big. Nobody supports the LPGA Tour quite like Yeti does. They support all of our LPGA content. And, a couple weeks back, we talked about their French press that came out. Now we got the new Rambler pitcher. So it's big tailgating season of people out there interested in whipping up a big old batch of something delicious. You can check out the Rambler pitcher. It's amazing. High quality products, everything that you would expect from Yeti, but could not be more appreciative of Yeti, their support of us, their support of the LPGA Tour, and everything else that we do here at No Laying Up. So please, everybody, if you're interested in the pitcher, they got the cast irons back in stock. Of course, buckets for tailgating season, you name it. Go check them out. TC was just holding up a second ago. Same thing. Our little bottles, you can get on there, customize them, a million different options. Please, everybody, go Yeti.com. And we, of course, thank them for supporting us.
Real quick, I'd like to shout out the ice bucket as well. It's a multifunctional piece. I made fried chicken the other night, and I used the ice bucket to put my fried chicken in, and it because fried chicken's like the messiest thing in the world, and it was the perfect receptacle for it.
Perfect.
There you go.
There you go. Nice little chicken. The Colonel didn't even think that one up. But also want to give a shout out to our hitters over at Titleist. Anytime we go to a team event, one of the things captains and players are thinking about when it comes to foursomes pairing is their golf ball of choice. And of course, many of these conversations tend to consider the performance differences of Pro V1 versus the Pro V1X. 70 players this week at the Solheim Cup will be playing a Titleist golf ball, 8 on Team USA and 9 on Team Europe, more than 4 times the nearest competitor with 3. Whether you're playing the Pro V1 or the Pro V1X, every one of those 17 have been through a golf ball fitting process and found the model that is best for their games. Our friend Lauren Coughlin trusts the performance of Pro V1, which she actually moved to last season from the Pro V1X. The lower flying, lower spinning Pro V1 gave LC better control with her approach play, especially in the windy conditions. For Celine Boutier, she prefers the Pro V1X because of the added spin she gets with her approach shots, which helps her stop her approach shots on firm greens better. Whether it's the V or the X on the game's biggest stages, more of the best players in the world choose the performance and consistency of Titleist golf balls. Head over to Titleist.com to start the golf ball fitting process and see which golf ball model is best for your game.
Well, Cody, thank you very much. And of course, thank you to Titleist and Yeti, huge sponsors of us. And again, making, our travels to the Solheim Cup this week possible. Speaking of that, we have a busy week. Of course, this is our preview episode. Tune in Thursday. We're going to have a live happy hour show. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the conclusion of play at the Solheim Cup, we'll be going live from a very cool location. Y'all will have to you'll have to check it out Friday.
Mr. Big, you said
Yes.
Thursday there. Happy hours are on Wednesday, my friend. No,
Yeah.
no, not so fast. Listen, this is a team competition. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are actual competition days. We're starting the happy hour. It's going to be a little bit later, too, than it normally is because we want to actually talk about the pairing. So there's an embargo and everything else going on, but it is going to be that Thursday afternoon. Come join in the high noon happy hour. We're going to have plenty of drinks flowing, everything. I'm pumped about it, Big, but you're right on top of the rest of the schedule that we got.
Yeah, it's going to be a great week in Virginia. Kevin Van Valkenburg, his daughter Keegan, I believe, is coming over to do some stuff with the U.S. Solheim Cup team. KVV will have some writing this weekend. We'll have social media stuff going. So it's going to be tremendous. As Tron said, it's one of our favorite events. This will be the third Solheim Cup now that he and I have been to. And Cody, you're second after last year at Finca over in Spain. So super excited. We look forward to delivering great content. Come through. Yes. Come on through. Some real basic information. TC, I'm going to ask you about Robert Trent Jones Golf Course, but before I get there, let me just run through the rosters if anybody's been under a rock lately. Team USA, they're once again led by Captain Stacy Lewis, and it is comprised of Nelly Corda, Lilia Vu, our hitter Lauren Coughlin, Allison Corpuz, Rose Zhang, Megan Kang, Allison Lee, Allie Ewing, Sarah Schmelzel, Lexi Thompson, Jennifer Kupcho, and Andrea Lee. That is your Team USA squad. For Team Europe, Captain Suzanne Pedersen is bringing Lynn Grant, Maya Stark, Madeline Sackstrom, Anna Nordquist, Georgia Hall, Charlie Hall, Leona McGuire, Celine Boutier, Esther Hensleit, Emily Christine Pedersen, Albane Valenzuela, and Carlotta Saganda. Those are your teams. Last year, of course, it was a 14-14 tie. However, by virtue of having the cup, Europe retains the cup, and they have retained the cup in each of the last 3 playings. The last time the U.S. team won was 2017 back at Des Moines Golf and Country Club in Iowa. So, TC, Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. What type of course is this? Has it hosted any other big championships? And kind of where does it fall broadly within this, greater Washington, D.C. golf landscape?
Yeah, Big. Great question. First of all, Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. It's a Robert Trent Jones. Okay. Through and through.
It's his masterpiece, right?
Yeah. I think he would say, one of his masterpieces. The bunkers are huge. That's like the first thing that kind of jumps out when I looked at. Oh, I've never played it. I talked to Lauren a little bit about it. Talked to our friend Stephen Britton, who used to be the superintendent there. Kind of a big golf course, kind of a rolling, rollicking piece of land. A lot of up and over stuff. So kind of looking through the setup, I think it's you're gonna have to drive the ball well. It's got some hazeltine to it. It's got some. I'm very curious to see how they set it up, basically, because there's all sorts of little wings off of some of these greens. Massive bunkers, like I said, bunkers on top of bunkers in certain spots. It gets off to kind of a stern start. You got 3 par 4s to start, and all 3 are kind of meaty. And then 4 is a par 3, and 5 is a good windy par 5. I think that's where first spots are really play offense and make things happen or dictate the match a little bit. And then like 6 is very dependent upon where they put the pin. Shorter par 4, 7's whatever, and then 8 through 13 is like the meat of the golf course. It looks really, really fun. They get out to the lake and it kind of dances back and forth along the lake quite a bit. Eight's just like good land. Longer players will be able to go for it. Not dissimilar to like last year at Finca, the 18th hole there actually. 9's a par 3 out to the lake, long, narrow green, plays downhill. 10's a shorter par 4. It'd be epic if they played it from the forward tees and made it a drivable par 4. That's the thing. I think like hopefully they take some chances and set things up in true match play fashion to kind of try to initiate some decision making or put a fork in the road and say, hey, you have to really dictate your match here. 11's the signature par 3 over the lake. Reminds me a lot of actually Robert Trent Jones Grand National, the lake course down in Opelika, Alabama.
That's right.
NCAA's God, forever ago. Like I think when Charles Howell III won the individual. 12 is a cool par 5, short par 5, no fairway bunkers, runs right along the lake. That'll be a fun one. And then 13, pretty straightforward, but cool. Infinity green looking out towards the lake. 14 is a really cool hole. 15 is a little bit offensive. I felt like there were some bad bunkering there. Dog leg left, par 4. Cool green though. 16's got the lake backdrop. And then 17 and 18, not the best finish, it looks like. You got a kind of 2-shot short par 4 in 17. They can tuck a pin there. And then 18 is I guess if you go long, you're flirting with the lake a little bit, but just kind of a longer par 4. So really, I think for the purposes of match play, it seems like a good golf course that, a lot of this action, a lot of the best holes are in that 8 through 13 stretch where a match is really decided upon. I need to go back and look at some of the President's Cup action. They had the President's Cup there, I think 4 times in the early going. They just kept having it at Robert Trent Jones. And then, Randy, they had another massive tournament there in 2015. I believe it was the Quicken Loans National.
Oh, of
And
course.
just
Tiger Woods is Quicken Loans National.
Yeah, a murderer's row up on the leaderboard. We had the pastor, Troy Merritt, finished minus 18, shot a third round 61 to win by 3 over Ricky Fowler, followed by David Lingmerth, Jason Bone, Bill Haas, Danny Lee, Carl Pedersen, Justin Rose, Justin Thomas, Ryo Ishikawa, things of that nature. So
God.
definitely an eclectic leaderboard there. It seems like a good professional golf venue. It seems like it's in great shape. Really nice piece of property, great vistas across the lake. It should show well on TV. And it looks like there's enough spots where, unlike last year at Finca, where people can actually congregate and some great vistas and vantage points kind of over the lake there. So again, like a lot of these LPGA events, it just seems like, man, they need to set it up right. They need to set it up. Just make it so there's fireworks, I think.
Yeah. Well, and we know from talking to Stacey Lewis a couple weeks ago, it's really a setup that's more neutral than I think what we see in the Ryder Cup, where the home captain can have a lot of input on how the course is set up. This is the LPGA, and I assume the LET kind of jointly setting up the golf course. But you're right, TC. The more holes that they can kind of turn into half pars, the more exciting that'll be for match play. Cody, any experience for you? Will this be your first time seeing Robert Trent Jones?
Yeah, I drove past it a couple times. It looks like there's a lot of water out there. But from what I remember, this is a place where TC mentioned the 4 President's Cups that's been hosted there. Of course, everybody will remember Chris DeMarco just high-stepping all over these greens, just, moonwalking putts in. It's just, this is Team USA. If there was a club out there of all the competitions that, U.S. professional golf is in, this is like their home club of for some things. The U.S. has never lost in the 4 President's Clubs that's been there. Not saying I don't know if that's an indictment on the international team or what, but
to be fair, Cody, the U.S. has never lost a President's Cup.
Well, that's true.
Generally speaking, they tied the one, of course, down in South Africa.
Who's counting? I mean, seriously, TC, who's counting? There's only been one. I mean, it seems like TC, this is not so much the emphasis is on driving. It's very much a ball striking and putting course. Because even like the bunkers they're so big and pushed up faces that if you hit one of the green size bunkers, I mean they're relatively easy up and downs. I mean it's very much a second shot golf course.
Yeah, it looks like you just kind of play it to the middle of the fairway. Don't try to cheat over most spots. There's just a lot of bunkers on the inside of dog legs. Basically, like don't get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Just go down the middle. I don't think there's a ton of angles. There's some banks on the outside of some of these dog legs that'll feed the ball back to the middle of the fairway. So you're getting rewarded for playing away from the bunker. Listen, I'm going to take my architecture hat off. We're talking team golf this week.
Yeah. Well, just a few things on the format. So the Solheim Cup, if you're unfamiliar, very much like the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup, Friday and Saturday, the morning play will be foursome. So that's going to be your alt shot. each of the first 2 mornings, and then the afternoon are going to be foursomes, which is better ball, and then Sunday singles, of course, just like the Ryder Cup and President's Cup. I will say matches can end in a tie, so all matches end after 18 holes. And the other wrinkle with the Solheim Cup, each team member is required to play at least one session prior to Sunday singles. So we will see each team member at least once prior to Sunday. The TV times, it looks like NBC has pretty good coverage this week. These are all Eastern time. Friday, they're going 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Golf Channel. Saturday, they're going 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Golf, and then 3 to 6 on NBC. And then Sunday, 8:45 to noon on Golf Channel, 12 to 3 p.m. on NBC. You'll note that earlier end time on Sunday. That is, of course, with football underway. I think they're trying to clear out the late afternoon Sunday evening for football. So I have some discussion question, guys, to help us preview the event. TC, Cody and I kind of talked about Solheim captain's picks on our last episode, but we didn't get your thoughts. So I want to start here. Any surprises, any gripes that you might have with both Stacy and Suzanne's captain picks? And just for folks at home, the U.S. captain selections were Lexi Thompson, Sarah Schmelzel, and Jennifer Kupcho. And the Euro captains picks were Anna Nordquist, Georgia Hall, Emily Pedersen, and Albane Valenzuela.
Nothing egregious. I think we all knew Lexi was going to be on the team. This will kind of maybe be her playing send off as far as Solheim Cups go. Kupcho up and down, pretty inconsistent year, but I think she's proven herself in these things. And then I think Schmelzel's had a great year, so I don't think you can Alexa Pano. You could probably make an argument there, and especially if you want to bet on upside and long-term experience for the team and trying to create a little bit more of that. But no major gripes. I think my biggest gripe is the fact that Captain Pedersen is not bringing Headwall as an assistant captain. Heart and soul of that winning team last year. One of the most improbable victories we've ever seen from Caroline Headwall there on Sunday, and just disappointed that she's not going to be a part of this thing. But yeah, with Georgia, Anna, Emily, Albane, I think all good picks. I think Alexandra Forsterling would maybe be someone that I would have taken a long look at, but it didn't really seem like she beat the door down. And I think from a course fit standpoint, like I saw Madeline got married this past weekend. Madeline and Jack got married this past weekend. So she should be in a really good headspace. Carlota is a complete bulldog in match play and should be a really, really good fit for this golf course too, between driving and just, general iron play. I'm a little bit concerned about Celine here. I think bigger golf course and tends to kind of, I don't know. I think after last year just left a really, really sour taste in my mouth from a European perspective. So we'll see which Charlie comes to play. And I think Lynn and Maya should pick up right where they left off from last year as well. So curious to see Albane and see how she plays, but should be a cool fit for her too.
Cody, with time to marinate, any other thoughts on captain's picks? Or I have another question for you if you'd like me to just go to that.
Yeah, no real changes. I think when we reacted to him, I nothing has really changed me from my stance there. And TC echoed Alexa and her possible inclusion on this team and it not happening, but I think when we turn around at 2026 and look back at this team, it's going to look a heck of a lot different just because kind of the players that we've been following the last few years really in the amateur and college ranks are going to have 2 years to finally come out here. You're going to have, I don't know, I don't want to dream, but I think honestly, when you look at Stanford's lineups, when you look at LSU's lineups, when you have
Auburn, Anna Davis,
Auburn, when you have the girls that just played on the Curtis Cup, I think the sky, Solheim is getting and shaping up to be an awesome future coming up here in the next couple playings. Not saying that I'm not pumped for this one, but I do truly feel like this is potentially like a changing of the guard cup going on.
I think that's right. It's interesting. I think both teams, the other name I would throw out for the U.S., Angel Yin, I was a little surprised. Maybe she wasn't under more consideration just given her Solheim history. But we don't have those. We don't have the depth right now of Team USA where you could legitimately make a case for, let's say 15, 16 different women to be on the team, right? It's pretty, I don't want to say cut and dry, but you have those top 12 and there aren't a ton that are just beating down the door for consideration. And I think the same thing with Team Europe. So Cody, I echo your sentiments. Hopefully, in another couple years, women's golf is deep, but a lot of that depth comes from Asia and countries that aren't participating in the Solheim Cup. So as we get along here over the next several years and the amateur game starts to produce more pros, it'll be fun to have a lot more people vying for these 12 spots on both sides. So all that said, Cody,
real quick, I'm sorry. Something just popped up here. And I think I've probably spent the last week trying to get fired up about Angel not making this team. And for some reason, it's just kind of not there. And I think there's so many similarities, I think, between where she sits currently on these teams and the makeup of these teams and Keegan Bradley. And I know that that's a very tough spot for me to come down to and like place that decision on. But both of them, they kind of know where they stand. And if they want to make these teams, they need to qualify outright. And I just don't think when you talk about the team environments and everything else like that. And I think this is why I'm so excited about the future of it, because a lot of that, the old guard of, all these little cliques and little micro communities that you have within the LPGA Tour that are changing. Like, I think that opens things up again for Angel. It just wasn't going to happen this year.
Yeah, I think Angel, I think Cup Show is probably the one that you would have left off. But Cup Show T6, I think, in Canada, and then played well in Boston. So she seems to be kind of rounding into form. And Cody, it sounds like you're suggesting that if there's a girls' club.
I'm not suggesting it. I think there's we've talked about this at length in the past. I think they're finally whittling away some parts of that, but it's still, the remnants of it are still very much there. But I'll say, you have Allie Ewing on there that kind of rallies this entire team.
Who's also 3-8-1 in her Solheim Cup.
You're right. But I think it's just one of those things where I'd rather have, somebody who's putting this whole team first instead of putting, me and my 2 or 3 other friends first. And I kind of like the direction that Team USA is going.
Just looking at it, I think this is a better team on both sides, or like both teams are better than they were 12 months ago. Lily, like we'll see. I think Lilia, Andrea, Rose, Allison, like they did not play well.
Right. Right.
Especially and I think Lilia kind of ran into a buzzsaw with Lynn a little bit there, but I think Rose kind of laying an egg was the biggest shocker last year. Really, really curious to see how that plays out this year, and if she kind of brings it this year, or if it becomes a trend.
So you mentioned both teams seeming stronger, and I think that's curious. Cody, I'm gonna put this to you. Of course, Europe won in 2019. Europe won in 2021. Europe retained last year. And yet we come into the week, the U.S. team is favored. Our friends at FanDuel currently have the odds, the U.S. minus 170, Euro to win plus 170, a tie is plus 1,000. Cody, who should be the favorite going into this week?
Well, it's hard to say that Team USA should not be the favorite. I would probably start my position there. I mean, they have, the number 1 and number 2 player in the world that are, the leaders of this team, the highest ranked player that Team Europe has. You're going to go all the way down and stay right at number 10 there. And that's Celine, who really doesn't have the best track record, specifically after showing last year in Spain. So it's hard to not say that Team USA are not the favorites. And I don't know, TC, I wonder what you're going to push back on there, because there is a little bit of the eye test, the Team Europe that we know from Ryder Cups. They just find a way to, they play better as a team. They have definitely a lot more foursomes experience, and they tend to vibe a little bit better. But I don't know. I just don't see how, and I said this last year too, how Team USA is not matching what FanDuel says.
I mean, I think the U.S. on paper is a much better team, especially with Lauren added. She's one of the hottest players in the world right now.
You guys want to know something crazy? Do you guys know what Lauren started this year at, ranking wise?
Like probably outside the top 100, probably 120.
Yeah, I was gonna say
109th. She was 109th to start the year. She's currently 14th in the Rolex rankings.
Isn't this what we get on the Ryder Cup side? And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, and we still can't. Well, maybe we can put our finger on it, Tron. But it's like the U.S. always seems to have the better players on paper by world ranking, by individual accomplishment, and yet there's something in that European team room and mindset where they just play much better than the sum of their parts.
Yeah. And I think Leona is a big part of that. Like Leona's match play superstar. Emily's a great example of that. Carlota, like they're just they don't give anything away, right? They're versus you look at somebody like a Nelly, where I think Nelly's putter being a lot better than it was last year is a huge consideration here. I think Lilia hopefully being healthy again is a huge consideration. Who knows what Lexi's bringing to the table? I think like you said earlier, Cody, like these are big greens. It'll be interesting even with Lauren. Like it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just there's gonna be a lot of lag putting going on these greens
for sure.
So kind of some stress testing on the putters.
Well, let's get into the individual teams, and I would love for you guys to kind of just prognosticate on some pairings, because I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of this event, right? Is who gets paired together in alt shot and in four balls. So Tron, I'm going to kind of have you put your Team Europe hat on and assume the role of Suzanne Pedersen. Cody, after this, I'll ask you to put your Team USA hat on and kind of go through the same exercise for Team USA. But Tron, are there any potential pairings as you look at this year's roster and you consider Robert Trent Jones? Which potential pairings get you most excited for both foursomes and four balls?
I think Maya and Lynn, just send them out every session. And
will they go out first again this year? Famously,
so.
Maya and Lynn wanted to go out first Friday morning in Spain.
I mean, you certainly can't send Charlie out first, or maybe you do send Charlie out first to ensure she's there on time. She almost missed her tee time last year.
I wonder when is Charlie on the grounds yet? Like, is she gonna show up on Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do with Charlie as far as groups go, right? It seems like do you pair her up with Leona, especially in a foursomes format, and have her kind of drive it? And Leona, it's super interesting. I don't think they got everything that they wanted to get out of Madeline last year. Maybe you just pair up Madeline and Anna and Lynn and Maya. And listen, I know Madeline and Anna aren't the greatest putters, so that's a concern. But maybe you just let them kind of ball strike it to death, and you pair up all four of the Swedes together and just say, hey, like, go have at it, and then we'll figure out the other stuff. No idea how Albane fits in from a personality perspective or from a even skill set perspective. I don't have a great sense of her game. She seems pretty malleable though. And then I think from a Esther, she's kind of like what the U.S. has with Lauren.
Yep.
Esther's been playing, just kind of slightly, not quite to the level of Lauren. Lauren's beat her head to head quite a bit, but similar profile as far as played really well the last 6 to 8 months and it's come on super strong. So again, I'm not sure kind of how you mix and match. I think Celine that was just so freaking confusing last year too, Celine. And so maybe you pair Celine with an Anna or someone like that, who Anna's, a grizzled vet in these things. She's played in like 31 Solheim Cup matches. So maybe you pair her up and, kind of have Celine under her wing a little bit and you break up that second Swedish pairing. But I don't know. I'm fascinated by it because I don't think, like, weirdly they had a good team framework set up in Spain, and yet I don't think they got everything that they could have out of their pairings. It seemed like there was, questionable stuff on the back end of, hey, let's do that differently next time.
Yeah, and just a few little stats to sprinkle in here. Typically Team Europe does much better in foursomes, which is the alt shot format. But last year, the Team USA won the 2 sessions 6-2 combined, and Europe actually went 6-2 in 4-ball. So a departure from historical trends. You mentioned Celine. She and Georgia Hall were 0-2 together last year in foursomes.
They cannot do that pairing again. I don't understand where that pairing came from.
It just seems super low energy.
Yeah, that's really well put. Yeah, neither of them is going to be the hype person in that pairing. The other pairing that went 0-2 in foursomes last year was Leona and Anna Nordquist. So be interesting if they try to go back to that. The 2 foursomes win they did get were Maya and Lynn. I would expect them to be paired together again. And then Emily Pedersen and Carlotta Saganda also got a win in foursome. So we'll see there. Cody, as we kind of look at Team USA, I just said they did really well in foursomes. A lot was made of, shout out our guy, Justin Ray. I think they went heavy into the stats and really tried to put who they liked together in that alt shot format. Do you think we'll see pretty similar pairings from a pretty similar US squad this year, or will the course kind of dictate a few changes?
No, I would say you're going to see a lot of the familiar foursomes matches. And I would say that I would not be surprised if Megan and Lexi lead off Team USA again on Friday morning. They ended up going 2-1, clipped Maya and Lynn, who everybody and me still, like, I think that's going to be the Team Europe, pairing for the next 5 playings of the Solheim Cup. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, like, literally that same exact match get run back again. I thought Nelly and Allison was a very good foursomes pairing. Record, they won both their matches pretty handedly there. And then really 4-ball, I'm very interested to see because I know Lauren, it's hard because just going off of her practice rounds and who she feels comfortable with, I would say that her and Allison have played, they played practice round together. I know they've played other
Sorry,
times before.
Would this be Corpuz and not Allison Lee? Okay.
Yeah, Corpuz. Allison Lee, I honestly, I don't know where she's going to fit in here. I didn't go back and look at who she would pair it at in her other Solheim Cup appearance, but I don't know. You got her. I would say that Lauren and Sarah, they ham and egg it, I think, pretty well there. I could see that for foursomes, but I think they could be a dynamite 4-ball match as well. And then you just kind of have Allie hanging out there. You have Andrea. We haven't even really mentioned Rose yet. Like, I don't know where they actually fit into these equations besides they hit a lot of fairways and they hit a lot of greens. And I guess we're just hoping that somebody starts making some putts because I think these greens are so big. It's just going to be like really a premium on ball striking.
Just to back up to Allison Lee, she played in the 2015 Solheim Cup.
That's wild. 9 years ago.
She was paired with Angela Stanford on Friday afternoon in 4-ball. They lost 3-2. And then she was paired with Michelle Wee in Saturday morning in foursomes. And they lost to Mel and Carlotta. She was paired with Brittany Lincecum in afternoon 4-ball. They lost to Suzanne Pedersen and Charlie Hull. And then she won her singles match. Kind of an interesting 9 years between Solheim Cup appearances.
Yeah. I think what I'm curious about is, like, LC, for instance. Will she go out Friday morning alt shot, as a rookie? That's a big spot for her, but, like, she's
one of the hottest players on the planet right now.
I know. I think you almost have to.
Is there anything with how they have the press conferences set up Like, does that give
Ooh.
clues into the pods
I'm
of
not sure.
sorts?
Do you
Or do you
have the
think
press
it's just
conference?
I can dig it up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I was just gonna say, like a Jennifer Cup show, she seems more of a 4-ball player, right? Just go out and try to make as many birdies. I think we saw Andrea Lee, her wedge game, her short game. Do you try to pair her up with a bigger hitter? Perhaps she goes more foursomes. It'll be fascinating. This is why, Cody mentioned the happy hour. We're gonna wait until after the first Friday pairings are revealed, because this is the fun of it, is getting down into who's paired with who's playing which format. An interesting nugget for Team USA. So the only people that won 4-ball matches, so the 4-ball matches last year, were Cheyenne and Angel Yin, who are not on the team this year. So interestingly, nobody on Team USA won a 4-ball match last year. So
these are their press pods. I'll go European first. So you have Lynn, Maya, and Esther Henslet. Then you have Anna, Celine, Leona, Carlotta, Albane Valenzuela, and Madeline. Charlie, Georgia, and Emily.
okay.
All right. And then for Team USA, you have Megan Kang, Nelly Korda, Allison Lee, which that pod makes sense. Andrea Lee, Lilia Vu, and Rose. Allison, LC, and Jen Cupshow. Allie Ewing, Sarah Smelzel, and Lexi Thompson.
Which all that kind of
Yeah,
makes sense.
They
Yeah.
all
Think
feel
about
right,
it,
just
right?
kind of personality and
I remember seeing that and
style-wise.
being like, "Oh, yeah, like that makes sense." If now, granted, if they were in pods of 4 instead of 3 for those.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and like looking at Europe last year, they put Charlie and Leona together in one round and they were absolutely dynamite.
Charlie
They
was remember, I think Charlie, that was her one round she played, but Charlie was not she was not in a
She
good
was not
spot, I
herself.
feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was off last year in Spain.
Yeah,
Hopefully that will
because
not be
they've
the
always
case.
had a Charlie and Emily kind of, you know, that's been a key pairing through the years, and they got boat raced by
Yeah.
Allie Ewing and Cheyenne that first session, and then they sat Charlie in the afternoon the first day, and then sat her in the morning the second day, and then sent her and Leona out, and they boat raced Corda and Ewing.
Yeah.
So
Well, TC, this gets into an important point. Speaking of Leona, what I was going to ask you next was which player, in your opinion, if you had to pick one player, who's the linchpin for Team Europe? Who do they most need to play well?
I think obviously you've got to have Lynn, you've got to have Leona, you got to have Carlota playing well. I think you got to get something out of Celine. I think like she was the only one that didn't score, like she didn't notch a point or even a half point last time around, and like that can't happen. I think they need to get something out of her this go around because that's the difference right there. I think Madeline's a good enough ball striker that her floor is high. Anna's gonna bring it. Emily's gonna bring it. I think Maya could play a lot better than she did last year as well. So I would say Maya and Celine would be my kind of two answers there because you're expecting good stuff out of the others, and then I think you're gonna get a better Charlie than you got last year too. So
Yeah.
and then yeah, I'm just thinking too. It's kind of crazy. This is the first Solheim Cup without Danielle Kang in like she's been on the last 4 US sides
Yeah.
consecutively. And so not seeing her, that could be a big change in the team room as well, especially with her mom not being there too.
For sure. I just want to underscore, Leona McGuire, she's played in 2 Solheim Cups. So she debuted in 2021 in Toledo. Europe won 15-13, so a tight Solheim Cup. And Leona went 4-1. And then we come back last year in Spain. Obviously, it was tied 14-14, and Leona goes 3-1-1. So in her 2 Solheim Cups out of 10 possible points, 10 matches, she's gotten 7.5 points. So she has been the linchpin. I mean, honestly, she has. When we kind of talk about Team Europe dominating this event, there have been no blowouts, right? And somebody like Leona is, I don't want to say single-handedly, but she loses a couple matches a couple of those flip, and we're talking about, God, could Team USA win their 3rd straight Solheim Cup? So I think it's almost like Europe needs her to play well, but I'm with you, Tron, where Celine Boutier, like, you're a top 10 player. You gotta give more than what we've seen so far.
That would allay some of the risk of Leona
Exactly.
kind of regressing a little bit, especially on a course that, like, it seems like the kind of course that Leona, I don't know, it's not playing into her strengths necessarily.
So yeah, that's super interesting. And also, like you said, just to reiterate, like, Charlie, she needs to be herself. She needs to be, giving off that Charlie energy. I think that will really help Team Europe. Cody, as we shift to Team USA, same question. Who's the linchpin for Team USA? Who do they really need to play well this week?
Well, you got to be led by Nelly, right? I think she's played very well, not very. She's played well in team events. She picked up points when she needed to, but she really hasn't been the vocal leader out there, carrying the flag and saying, "Hey, everybody, watch what I'm doing," and getting everybody kind of motivated around her. But I also say, last year is weird because this Lilia, when we had tons of questions and she was, battling injuries and everything else like that, but she was a rookie last year. I think how she is more of the vocal person on this team that can get people all riled up and say, "Hey, look what I'm doing." She didn't play last week in Boston, of course, coming off the heartbreaking defeat at St. Andrews, but is in excellent form there. TC mentioned, like, I think the questions that we have on this team are all questions of people who should play very, very well. They just were rookies last year. So I already mentioned Lilia, but I'm going to put Rose, Andrea, and Allison Corpuz in that same bucket. And, like, you need the 5 of them, really 6 of them, to go out and handle their business and be leaders on this team. And I understand that might put, Rose in a difficult position, but she's no longer the rookie. She's a multiple winner now on the LPGA Tour, and it's her time to kind of step up.
That said, Lynn and Maya were also rookies last year too. And they, both showed up in a big way. They handled their business.
I know. I think Rose is the fascinating one, right? For her to go 0-2-1 last year. Yes, a rookie. Yes, in Spain. Yes, it was kind of towards the end of a very long season. All of that, right? All of that. But there's a reason that, she's a top 10 player and has high expectations. Like, she has to show better. And Cody, I think you're exactly right with Lilia. I thought she played better than her 1-3 record last year, but at the end of the day, 1-3 is 1-3, and she's, if she's not your number one, she's your number 1A with Nelly. Definitely need some more points out of her. So I think you're exactly right there.
I mean, Randy, I think Andrea Lee, like, I remain very impressed by her game. I think this will be a breakout performance for her, regardless of who wins the cup. I think she'll be right there. And then I don't think anybody's really talking about it, but Allie Ewing, can she recover from what Headwall did to her down the stretch?
That's such a good point. Yeah.
I mean, that was utterly devastating.
Yeah.
Not only that it happened, how it happened. I mean, it was crazy.
Headwall, she played the last 5 holes and 5 under to essentially steal a point and earn the tie for
1-2 up.
Team Europe. Yeah.
It was remarkable.
This is a hard question, but I do think it's at least worth a little discussion. Let's say Europe does pull off the upset. They win the cup. It'll be 4 straight cups where they've held it, and 6 of the last 8 actually. Let's assume Lexi Thompson retires and doesn't play in 2026. All of a sudden, you fast forward 2 years, and you're going to have an entire Team USA that has never experienced a Solheim Cup win. And so does this just get down to, like, hey, the players got to play better, or is there some type of, like, system issue going on with Team USA if they can't win the cup this year?
Sounds like you may need a task force, Randy.
That's what TC, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Do we need a task force?
Which, it's kind of funny. You got, Julie Inkster did 3 in a row. You had Pat Hurst after that. And Julie won 2 of 3, right? But you've got it seems like there's an interesting, I would assume Brittany Lincecum is probably,
Next
like
up.
their assistant captains or, Paula Creamer, like they're all in that team room right now as assistant captains. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think I don't have a good answer for it, right? They just gotten beat, and they've gotten beat in different ways too. And it hasn't been, I feel like it almost makes it easier if it's a blowout, and then you can kind of throw that playbook out and say, cool, we're gonna go with something new here. But they've lost, the last 3 by a I mean, granted they tied last time, but that's a loss. They've lost it by like 2 points over 3 Solheim Cups. It's not like the margins are thin, right?
Yep, right.
Like the last real blowout was when they beat Europe in 2017, and then before that, Europe won at Colorado Golf Club 18-10. So, head wall, 5 points there. They got head walled.
Cody, you sniffing task force if Team USA doesn't get it done this week?
I don't know if they'll have to do a task force because honestly, I think we're gonna make it through. It probably is gonna be Brittany's team in 2026 when we go to the Netherlands. But I would say when we start looking at 2028 and like what changes you could actually start making, I think Lexi Thompson is going to be the captain of that team and will probably be the captain for good 2-3 iterations. And I would see her kind of looking and forming whatever she ends up putting together, which I'm honestly
That
like,
feels like a big oof.
I am like, what are we doing here? I don't know. Like, then you start to think of other captains who should be in this lineup. Like, I don't know. Is Paula going to get a team? They tried to bring Natalie Golbus out as an assistant captain last year, and she was just kind of more there for like rah-rah than anything really else. Is Morgan going to get a team? Like, when's that going
for
to
sure
happen?
Morgan's going to get a team. I think Morgan would be far more qualified to do it than some of the other ones we mentioned. It's like
I don't
we're
know.
not that
I
far
got
off
a
from
little Morgan
Danielle.
fatigue because she's lying. You can't lie to us about things that you say on the television. Just own it and then keep it moving.
I'm fucking excited, man.
It's very much sticking with me still. But yeah, when you like start to think about it, you're like, wait a second, we might be a little captain heavy here. So who's going to be the guiding hand that's going to come in and kind of drive the change that you see for this? Because I am excited. You have so much like amazing talent coming up on the US side and this, obviously the European side, but really like the next few Solheim Cups for Team USA are going to look completely different than they have right now, and specifically like the team that played in Spain.
Randy, I think they should maybe have Condi be
Condi,
permanent captain.
yeah, maybe Rachel Heck by that time can just come in
For
and
sure.
be a captain.
Friends of golf.
Listen,
Yeah.
if we really want to shake things up, what about Danielle Kang and her mom, co-captains? Bring them in. We could go a lot of different ways. On a serious note, it feels like Angela Stanford is gonna get a team at some point. You would think. We'll see.
Yeah, who's at Valhalla?
Yeah, I know. All right, well let's end this preview episode. We're gonna save our official predictions. We're gonna get into all of that on our happy hour. So we're gonna wrap this episode. We're gonna do a draft. The 3 of us, 24 players across both teams. We're gonna draft teams of 8, and then we're gonna talk shit to each other the rest of the week on who has drafted the best team. So the rules are simple. We each get 8 players, and then come Sunday evening, whichever team has accrued the most points, we can have bragging rights. I don't know if I was trying to think of any like dumb little stakes we could play for. Maybe the losing team, that the loser can offer a heartfelt mea culpa on Sunday's live show. So with that said, I randomized.
Randy, bet your paycheck. You won't do it.
No, I won't do it. I randomized the draft order. It's going to go TC, myself, and then Cody. So Cody, you'll get the snake. We'll snake it that way. TC, all 24 players at your disposal. drafting on sheer points. Who you taking number 1 overall?
Oh God, Randy, I wasn't prepared for this. I think it comes down to, all right, who do I think is going to play a lot?
Will it be a U.S. selection or a
I know I don't
European
that like
selection?
that's
This
what I
is
don't want to
fascinating.
do. I don't want to have a US player. Give me Lynn or give me Death. That's Arthur seems like he's
My
happy
dog
about that.
Arthur's jazzed about that pick. Yeah, he's big Lynn Grant fan.
Like as much as I want to pick Nelly or Lauren or I don't know if I trust Charlie. I trust Lynn. I think Lynn's gonna be a predator once again.
I think too. She hit some squirrely shots. I feel like Lynn's game is trending. I feel like she battled at the Open. I like that pick, TC. Gosh, my temptation is to pick Leona because she's a Solheim Cup Terminator. Like I said, she's gotten 7.5 points out of 2 Solheim Cups. But I have a feeling her second event, she's in good form. There's something about Lilia Vu. I could see her winning 3 points in 4 sessions. So I'm gonna take Lilia. Cody gets 2 here, and the board is wide open.
Well, I already typed it in our sheet if you guys are monitoring there. But I mean, come on, man. The fact that you guys have moved over the number 1 player in the world is shocking to me. You're clearly going with the eye and heart test here, but it's Nelly Korda, number 1, right off the top. I respect your Lilia pick because I thought I was going to be able to get her at number 1, but that's not the case. This is going to shock people, but I think we're asking an awful lot of this young European player, and I think it is her time to step up and really cement herself just like Leona's did in the past, and that is going to be Maya Stark.
Cody loves Maya.
I love hats. This is all based off caddy connections.
I like Maya's mindset. I think that's a good pick. I do think her and Lynn are just.
She knows who she's playing with. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's honestly the easiest second pick ever because I'm like, oh, we're just gonna drift off, TC and Lynn.
Well, listen, I happily take her in the second round. Give me Leona McGuire. Maybe she can't, get 4 points, but I feel like she's a safe bet for at least a couple. High floor. She just shows up for these events. I'll happily take Leona here.
Give me Esther Henselite.
Great
pick. Next pick. Rookie. I don't think she's going to be flustered at all. I think she's nails. I'm going Esther. Next up, I'm going to go a
Here's
little bit
my
off.
question with Esther. My only question with Esther is we don't know how she jives with Captain Pedersen and whether, she'll play. I'd be shocked if she didn't play at least 3 sessions, but you never know with Suzanne. Like she has it in her mind and she does exactly what she thinks. So that's my only hesitation with Esther, I guess.
Next up, guys, I'm going to go with an absolute curveball. I'm going to go with Lexi Thompson.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to go there.
I got to get at least 1 or 2 Americans on my roster. So
okay.
Heart and soul of the team. I believe she's like 9-7-7. I want to say in her Solheim career.
She played great
to show up.
Play great in Spain. This should be a good golf course for her.
All right, so back to me. I'll say the ones that are catching my eye. Megan Kang tends to show up in these team competitions. Lauren Coughlin is one that I wouldn't mind.
Lauren and Megan were the 2 that I was looking at next. I can't believe I just took Lexi. I wish I could give it back.
No, you can't, TC.
God,
honestly, when you started, I thought you were going to go with Carlotta. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even think for a second that you would go with Lexi.
So Carlotta was also who I was kind of looking at. Gosh, Bulldog, home soil. I like Megan Kang in these events. Give me Megan Kang here.
All right. So where are we at? I'm going to go with, come on. Allison Corpus, first of all.
She played well last year. She was good with Nelly. Yeah. Hasn't had a great season, though.
I can't believe I took Lexi.
You know, we talk about this
It
player's
could be a good
match
pick,
play,
TC.
the
Truly.
passion, everything. I said it a second ago. I was just joking, but I'm going with Carlotta.
Wow.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, so far I have Nelly, Maya, Allison Corpus, Carlotta Saganda, Randy, Lilia, Leona, Megan Kang, TC, Lindgren, Esther Henselite, and Lexi Thompson.
Yeah, I'm starting to get into that territory where who do I think is going to play the most sessions? And I got 2 Americans, 1 Euro right now. God, I feel like it's a boom or bust pick with Charlie Hull. But if she's playing well, she's going to play at least 4 sessions.
Emily's going to play a lot too.
Emily will play a lot. Again, a boom or bust pick. I'm seeing LC up there. Just because it's going to be fun to ride with her. Give me Charlie Hall.
Love it.
If it hits, it's going to hit hard.
Yeah. Give me LC.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I can't believe I got her on the boomerang there. And then next up, go with Madeline. Go with Emily. Give me Allie Ewing.
I like that pick.
I do too. We've talked about her 3-8-1 career record, but I still like that. I still like her too. I feel like she's got
something's
that
not adding up. Like she should
bulldog.
be. This should be like the perfect competition for her. Like kind of greater than the sum of her parts.
Talking about like new perspective on stuff. You think? Do you think we will see a Madeline, a Anna, meaning Jack, Madeline and Jack in the same in a pairing this week?
Wouldn't shock me at all. I could see them as a 4-ball pairing. Good vibes there. God, I like the course fit too with Madeline.
Yeah.
I feel like if she's driving the ball well, she'll be a real asset. I'm just having a tough time getting past Rose Zhang, and she's got to be better than the 0-2-1 from last year, right? She's just, you can't be a top 10 player in the world and lay another egg. Give me Rose Zhang.
Randy betting on pedigree. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Madeline, and then I will go with man, this is getting tough. I'll go with Emily.
Yeah, she's going to play 4 sessions. Suzanne loves her. Okay, on the swing back, God, Celine, this is not good that you're still on the board here. Andrea Lee. You know who I'm going to take? God, my team is boom or bust. But
Jem Kupcho.
Wow.
Yeah, if she's playing well, I feel like the course fit's good. She can make a ton of birdies. Give me Jennifer Kupcho.
Okay. Give me Andrea Lee. Big Andrea Lee guy.
Yeah.
God, I have way too many Americans. Terrifying.
I feel like your girl Celine sitting right there.
She is. Yeah, Anna's not playing great right now. What's Georgia's recent stretch look like?
She was up and down at the Open.
Yeah.
Tied 22nd at the Women's Open, tied 15th at the Irish Open. Had another T12 at the Scottish. Not bad. Georgia. Yeah.
It's just because, like, I feel like Albane's a total wild card. Same with Allison Lee. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I like Allison a lot. I think she's a really good tee to green. I don't know if the putter's there.
All right, so the ones we have left, Allison Lee, Sarah Schmelzel from Team USA, and then Anna Nordquist, Celine Boutier, and Albane Valenzuela from Team Europe. I'm going to use the same justification I used for Rose. Celine, if you're a top 10 player, we got to show up a little bit. Give me Celine Boutier in this spot. pedigree.
Value, Randy. I mean, it's like that, quarterback that everybody thought was going to go in the first round, fell to the fourth.
Yeah. All right. So who's Cody going to end his squad with?
I'm going Sarah Schmezel.
Okay.
One more. I'll go Albane Valenways. Jesus.
Randy, I think the other thing too is like Celine played all right in Toledo. She went 1-1-1. Won her singles match. Lost in 4-ball.
So the two remaining, Anna Nordquist, Allison Lee. Give me Anna Nordquist. Give me the experience. Not sure.
Give me Allison Lee all day. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice, but I would have picked her over a variety of other players probably.
All right. So final teams. TC has Lynn Grant, Esther Hensleit, Lexi Thompson, Lauren Coughlin, Allie Ewing, Andrea Lee, Georgia Hall, and Allison Lee. I have Lilia Vu, Leona McGuire, Megan Kang, Charlie Hull, Rose Zhang, Jen Kupcho, Celine Boutier, and Anna Nordquist. And Cody has Nelly Corda, Maya Stark, Allison Corpuz, Carlotta Seganda, Madeline Sackstrom, Emily Pedersen, Sarah Schmelzel, and Albane Valenzuela.
And it's just total points?
Total points.
Okay.
Total points come Sunday. Yep.
Because records could be very skewed of like somebody got, a couple dozen starts and somebody only got 18,
exactly. And listen, we're going to, all these partner Friday, Saturday, it's going to create interesting bedfellows here. Who are we rooting for? How many pairings are going to come internally from our own team? Things of that nature. So
I feel like I've hedged some of my happiness here. Like I'm obviously huge LC fan. I'm rooting for Europe. Ride or die for Europe. Randy, are you on Team Europe this year?
TC, me and you, baby.
Okay, you're still with me. All right, good.
Yeah. No, I'm not getting off this winning train now. Well, it's going to be a great week. Anything to add before we wrap here? And again, we'll have our happy hour Thursday. We'll make official predictions. We'll react to the initial Friday pairings, and then live shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Anything to add before we get out?
Just want to give a couple shout outs here real quick. So first and foremost, I think that for the first time, I really kind of am getting giddy over the Solheim Cup via their social coverage. I don't know if they've just invested more in it this year, but it seems that they're putting out more behind the scenes content, which I really appreciate. So you can check that out on any of the Cup or individual team channels on Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever we're going to go with it. I also want to shout out the Solheim Cup. They named the USO as their charity partner for this year's playing. I think it's very fitting right outside of Washington, D.C. It does a ton of support, obviously, to military and veteran families, but basically every international airport you can go to, there's a USO in there for, it doesn't matter if you're a young soldier or a retired person, somebody there to kind of help lend a helping hand as people are moving across the world here for a lot of other things. And then the last thing is, I was kind of curious on this too when we were talking about captain's picks, but when it came down to Sarah Schmelzel and kind of what's been going on, I want to give Schmelzel, excuse me. I want to give a huge shout out.
Pac-Man Jones. Schmel me. Schmelzel.
I want to give a shout out to Sarah Kellum at LPGA Tour. She wrote a really good feature on her of what kind of her year, her goals, and what's kind of transpired for her over this year. So she suffers from endometriosis and actually had an ovarian cyst rupture halfway through this year. I mean, there's a great write-up on her at LPGA.com, the new LPGA.com, which I'm a big fan of. So go check it out.
How's the new app?
I haven't dove into the app yet.
Very, very curious on that.
I don't know if I think I might need to manually update mine. But yeah, a much needed refresh to the LPGA website and app. Good on them. Cody, great shout outs. That Sarah Schmelzel piece offered a ton of really interesting backstory and really helped bring her to life as somebody that candidly I don't know a ton about. So great stuff from the LPGA crew. Emma Talley, I know, is doing a ton of the social stuff. She's going to have access to the U.S. team room all week. So big week on site, boys. Can't wait to get to Washington, D.C. with you. TC, what do you have before we say goodbye?
One other thing. The forecast looks magnificent.
Wow, we didn't even talk about the weather.
Magnificent. Yeah. High 70s, low 80s, mostly sunny. Hopefully that doesn't change, but looks like some rain rolling in, the following Monday. But hopefully that stays intact, because that would be a dream.
Yeah. Well, beautiful. Guys, thank you. I'm very excited for this week. Everybody, thank you for listening. Be sure to check us out all week, and let's have a hell of a Solheim Cup week.
Good luck to NBC. We're counting on you guys.